Just got back from the theater. It is Thursday night, so I just went and saw the premiere of Speak No Evil. And about, for about the last 2 months, as I've been watching movies, what feels like almost every week, um, an ad for this movie, I swear to God, was in every movie previews. And so, in my honest opinion, I thought from the trailer it looked like dog shit. And I went into it with low expectations. Um, I like James McAvoy as an actor. I liked him in Split, in the X Men, prequels. Um, I've I've seen him in something else. Oh, I mean, in Wanted, he was pretty good. But yeah, so I think he's a fine actor. I think the only problem is after he did Split, he proved, he's pretty good at, doing kind of different kinds of voices and mannerisms. And I think he might potentially kind of be typecast as that. Hopefully, we see him in, more movies and different kinds. But I feel like this movie really kind of tried to feed off that. Look how he was in Split. And by looking at the trailer, the worrisome thing was, oh, he's just acting like comically over the top like he did in Split. So, again, maybe I'm a little biased because I was already going to kind of dog on this movie. So I will tell you flat out, I did not hate this movie. I did not dislike this movie, but I did not love or like this movie. This was a very much middle of the road, neutral movie where I left it going, okay, I watched a movie and meh, and I mean, I'll say the things I like and the things I don't like. There's going to be a lot of more negatives than positives, but the premise of this movie, spoiled in the trailer, thank you, is a couple with a daughter goes on a trip to, basically Italy, meets this other couple with a son. They kind of bond, and then they're like, hey, we got a house in the country. Why don't you come by? And then, start like some weird stuff kind of starts happening where they're like, okay, there's something wrong with these people. And in the trailer, so not spoilers, in the trailers, the boy of the weird couple tells the girl of our main characters, So somebody cut his tongue off. So right when the movie starts and the weird couple is like, oh, he's got a small tongue medical problem. You're like, well, already spoiled for me in the trailer. Thanks. And in the trailer, you see James McAvoy look all crazy, bloodied up. So you're like, okay, so someone's either dying or we know this is going to lead to that ultimate third act, basically. And that's not a bad thing. Like, this movie kind of reminded me of The Strangers a little bit. Um, just, I don't even know what you would call this kind of genre, but basically, crazy people in a house trying to kill you. That. And at first, the movie does a good job of basically not making them seem outright crazy, just kind of maybe, a little odd. Like, I'm sure we all know those like weird ass extroverted people, couples, where you're like, okay, they definitely don't know anything about personal space or fucking boundaries. And so you kind of get that feeling, like, okay, but then like even right in the beginning when they've barely met, the James McAvoy character is like, let me take your daughter on the scooter, woo, and they're like, I guess. I'm like, no, no. Why the fuck would you let your kid get on a scooter with a random man and then he just drives off? It's like, poor parenting much? Like, yeah, dumbass. But it slowly just leads to more and more intense things. And the sound design, soundtrack, cinematography. It's a Blumhouse movie. It seemed very much like they just wanted to make the most safe, standard, not necessarily home invasion movie, but like I said earlier, like the killer in the house. Oh, ooh, and I just felt like this movie could have been, I don't know if there was like a law or something, but you know, a movie like this can be an hour long and would work a lot better because I'm going to be honest, this movie basically feels like 90% of the runtime is just spent going, ooh, isn't that making you uncomfortable? Man, it's a little weird. Ooh, where's this going? And it's a lot of like no payoff. It goes back down, but you know it's usually up, payoff, down. Now it's nothing happened. Pew. And so I I you know can't really recommend this movie, and I can get into spoilers real soon. I just it it kind of bored me. Um, they just they just ham fist you with the teases and the teases and oh look uncomfortable, and it gets to one point where it's two like uncomfortable things at once, but it has zero payoff, and it just goes to the next scene. And you're like, we could have literally cut out this entire 6-minute scene and gotten to the next part, and it would have changed nothing for the better. You would have saved time by us not having to watch that stupid scene. And the ending just felt, I don't know, I guess I was like, okay, like, whoa, we're in the third act, like, ooh, and it was just kind of, okay, it's exactly what I expected we'd probably see. Very safe, very standard, and it's done. So, if you don't want spoilers, stop it right here, and you really decide for yourself if you want to go watch it. I love thriller movies, and there were some pieces in the beginning where you're like, ooh, you know, like that, ooh, that'd make me uncomfortable. But then they just keep doing it until basically the very end. So yeah, that's I can't really recommend it. This movie just feels like a random ass movie you would find on like a Netflix or a Hulu. It doesn't feel, in my opinion, a movie that should be in theaters. Really, it felt like such a straight to streaming kind of movie. I you know I just But anyway, I'll go into more of the spoilers and kind of talk about some stuff. So yeah, the very first scene is James McAvoy's character and his wife with the kid, the boy in the back seat, walking up to what looks like an abandoned home. And so you go, okay, so right from the get go, it's probably not their house. And just judging from the trailer, I swear to God, I said, this is either going to be like The Visit or it's going to be a little bit like a offshoot of it. Because in The Visit, if you've seen that movie, spoilers, turns out that the grandparents are not the grandparents. It's two escaped mental patients who have killed the grandparents and taken over the house. And I immediately was like, it's that. And once you know in the movie, it's that. They're not his parents, and they've basically killed the people. They either killed the people who live there, or that's just the house they bought, but they killed like people by bringing them there. But yeah, I just felt like it was a little bit too predictable on that. But you know, the main couple, they live in London. They moved from America. They've had, you know, trouble finding jobs, but they're like rich as fuck. So it was hard to feel like you know, like, because they'd be like, oh my God, like, we'll find a job. And it's like, wow, I mean, why would I feel bad though? You got like $300K in the bank and you drive a Tesla and you seem to be living pretty nice by going on trips to Italy, even though you don't have money apparently or a job. So it's kind of like, what? Like, you know, a big thing about this movie where they try to kind of hit you over the head in the end is like rich versus poor or something, you know? The movie's going on. James McAvoy's, you know, I'll just say the McAvoy fam and the main MC fam. So the MC fam and the McAvoy fam hang out like over like a weekend or a week, and then they go back to London. And that's when they're like, I'm depressed, wee woo, womp womp, and then they get a letter from the McAvoy fam, basically saying, yo, you know, come back and visit us at our house, and they're like, yeah, even though they're complete strangers and we have no idea, and this is like a horrible idea, let's get away and do it. I'm like, I mean, you're rich as fuck. Like, go take another just separate trip to Italy or wherever. It's not like you're hurting for money, apparently. And so they go. And, you know, weird things starts happening. And, the McAvoy family, the McAvoy character was like, you know, I'm a doctor, blah, 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 blah. And so, there's a scene where the MC fam, the wife, cuts her finger, and the husband's like, "Oh, you're a doctor, thank God." And they just do this dumb joke where he's like, "I'm not a doctor. He got you." Um, they don't let. I just feel like they don't let anything build up in this movie. Like that. It's just like very like, boom, boom, boom. Like everything's so quick, and then we just don't come back to it. But this movie only works because the parents A are so stupid, but B because they randomly give the daughter like OCD or some kind of problem where if she doesn't have a stuffed animal, she starts scratching herself until she bleeds. Um, and she like throws a tantrum, and I'm just like, and the MC fam, the dad makes a point like, okay, you're like 13, you should not be doing this. And I'm just thinking, so you're like loaded with money to go on vacations and luxury trips. You own a Tesla, but you can't take your daughter to therapy or counseling to not do this. Like what? Because it becomes a plot device, and it's eye roll levels of like basically that. Like in the beginning, they're actually able to escape the family because they get weirded out because the MC fam, the wife wakes up, is like, "Where's my daughter?" And then she sees that the daughter's sleeping in bed with the McAvoy family. James McAvoy is like naked in a Speedo, and then the wife is kind of naked too, but like holding the daughter. So the MC fam, the wife freaks out, grabs the kid, and is like, "Well, let's go." They just leave. The McAvoy family doesn't wake up. But then the daughter's like, "Where's my stuffed animal? I'm gonna freak out," and starts, screaming and kicking. They stop, and mind you, it was the wife who was like, "We need to leave," and then it's the wife who's like, "Stop telling your daughter she's too old to have a stuffed animal. She needs it." I'm like, you are the one that threw the fucking fit. I mean, yes, it is weird that they had your daughter in the bed, but like, you're the one who threw the fucking fit to leave. And now you want to go back because she's throwing a tantrum over a fucking doll? Bro, like, you're worried that they were really creepy with your daughter. Fucking get over it. Go back home. Get the counseling for your daughter that she clearly needs. I don't know. Like, I mean, like, put your foot down. Like, what the fuck? And so it's just like these contrived plot stuff where you're just like, no, like, you're actually a moron. But, basically, not to name every scene, but I swear about 85 to 90% of this movie is just the constant back and forth of, we're leaving, oh, we're going back, we're leaving, we're going back, oh, we're about to leave, oh, this happened, oh, please stay, oh, please stay, ooh, that's kind of weird, ooh, you're uncomfortable, aren't you? And then finally, and it's so rushed, finally we get to a point where the kid with no tongue is able to take the keys off James McAvoy, grab the girl, and shows her the truth. There's like a cellar full of like other people's stuff. And then, he's pointing to the pictures, and basically the girl figures out they've killed at least like 8 or 9 families somehow. And, that their family's next, which, mind you, it's like, you're telling me they've been able to kill 8 families, including children, and not one person has tried missing, or in today's modern age, I'm sure there's a lot of more cameras in places like Europe, but it's like not one no one's searching for them really after you've killed that many parents and kids. I find that hard to believe. But then it's just immediately after that, there is no kind of in between. Like, you would think a scene like that, at least for me personally, would have been a little bit earlier in the film, and you could have either had it where the daughter is trying to tell her parents about what's happening, but then keeps getting pulled away. And there's like a little thing where the McAvoy family knows that the daughter knows, but then they realize the parents don't know yet. You could have like some awkward tension stuff. They don't do that. It really is just girl finds out, immediately tells her parents, bam, third act of the movie starts, and then it just feels so fast on this where it's just thing happened, done. And I just kept thinking, so you had me basically sit through like over an hour of just kind of the same scene over and over again with no payoff for the ending to be so fast. And, of course, James McAvoy, they made him shredded for really no reason, for maybe like 2 shots of him in his tank top. But he gets a box cutter to the face, stabbed in the arm, acid on his face, and is just still like, I'm Mr. Crazy Man. I was like, what the hell? Now, him getting killed was great. I wish they would have lingered on it just a little bit. Basically, the kid that he cut the tongue out of smashes his face in with a brick. And for a split second, you can see, and you're like, ooh, that's pretty gross. But yeah. I don't know, and even how I'm talking about it, obviously you can tell by now, I'm not super interested. I'm trying to watch movies maybe that I don't usually watch, or even if I think I don't like it, I'll watch it for the sake of, well, maybe I'm wrong. And this was just a movie that felt so meh and just so mediocre. And that's the weird thing about Blumhouse Productions. It's like, we'll get something good like The Invisible Man, and then we'll get a piece of shit like this movie, or Wish Upon, or whatever. And yeah, I mean, maybe you might have a fun time, with it, with some friends, but in my personal opinion, don't expect much. And I just don't care to go through each scene. So I guess until next time, that's really about to be it for this video. Out of 10, I'd give this basically a 5. It's just a movie. Scenes were shot, sound was made, plot, and it exists. It's alive, but it has no soul. So, thank you for watching. As always, I've got more videos coming. I almost feel like I'm backlogged on videos. So I just need to post those when I can. But until next time, that's going to be it for me. I'm out.